Greetings, brothers and sisters. Here's John Stamos rocking that awesome haircut, and the artist formerly known as Bob Saget. One of my viewers sent me this. I want to get the Full House stuff out of the way, the Bob Saget stuff out of the way, and then I got more Jeff Zucker stuff and Whoopi Goldberg and Masked Singer. There's some controversy on the Masked Singer. But anyways, let's start here. This is John Stamos' Instagram page.
This is funny.
This is John Stamos' son.
This is funny.
He looks like he's, what, 3 or 4 years old? Maybe 5. And this is somebody who would enjoy Full House. You know, it's that age group, that level of, you know, you can understand the show when you're a toddler. Billy was never interested in Full House, and I was perfectly fine with that. Bob died. Now he's obsessed. I blame Bob and Nanny Taylor Rich. You know, this is weird. I don't really know what to say about this. Eat Travel Rock says, I love this, John. Questlove says, oh, wow. Various famous people. And then, I'm obsessed too, this woman says. Does Billy know about the haircut from Michelle? All right, that's enough of that, right? This is his Instagram page. I think he still thinks he's a rocker. And here he is with Bob Saget, who he recently rotted out as being someone who didn't listen to you, interrupted you, didn't care what you thought about. And then right before he died, he did. And it's the Bob that he always wanted, but then they talk about him being the sweetest person who ever lived. And then there was this from page 6. Candice, Cameron, Bure got into a little tiff with Bob Saget in their last texts. Here they are together. Get rid of that. There they are together again. Look at, he's just such a happy, just exuding love. He's the epitome of love.
Just 2 weeks before he passed, I'm actually going to grab my phone.
She's going to grab her phone, Hoda. You give a fake smile. She's got footballs. Hoda just broke up with her fiance, so she's going through her own little grieving process.
So scared that I'm going to pull up his text and then accidentally delete it one day. Like, it scares me.
Wow, like, you know, that's pretty difficult to do. Like, how would you accidentally delete it?
It scares me so much because I don't ever want to.
It's just fake crying, Hoda. Give your best Dr. Zeus face.
Lose this. We were going to have dinner and we got into a little tiff.
They got into a little tiff because, as we're now finding, Bob was not such a pleasant person. He wasn't the sweetest man that ever lived that they've been painting him as. She has tears in her eyes. She's conjuring up a real tear here. And right here she's pitching something, right? There is some kind of book she has selling there, and she's got the water sign. She's doing the Donald Trump water sign. So this is her book. She's doing the water sign, which I've covered in so many videos. I'll put a bunch of them up in a second here. So I've covered this with Trump before. So there was a movie, the Simpsons movie from 2007, where the Simpsons, the town of Springfield is in a dome. And there is some guy who works for the government here. And he says, we're commencing Operation Soaring Eagle, which involves killing you all. And then he has the water sign up, which is a symbol for, yes, we're going to do this, right? It has a lot of different meanings, but in this case, it is, you know, a broader symbol for humanity, right? And so here's the symbol again, and then here is the symbol with Trump doing the same thing. Trump is often, this is one of Trump's favorite hand signals, you know, one of his favorite moves. And this is for Aleister Crowley, who is, you know, self-proclaimed wickedest man on earth. And he has all these symbols in his book, and this is what he calls the water sign, the goddess Arumat. And so I've found various explanations and meaning for this. This is one of the 4 elemental signs, right? Water, air, fire, and earth. And the important part is that it's intentional, right? This isn't something that's randomly done. It's weird to hold your hands in this form, right? It's not something that comes naturally, and Trump loved to do it. Like, it's Trump's signature sign. He's doing it all the time, right? It's something that, you see him doing time and time again. And it's been done in other places as well. I mean, this is Trump again. Trump loves to he's holding up the devil's horns here as well. And there he is with his sister, allegedly. I mean, his daughter. And then here's more of the goddess Auramoth. There's Diamond Dallas Page. And so, there's a way to conceal it. There's a guy from Star Trek doing it in upward fashion. And you have the Pope doing it, or some bishop or something there. And there's Aleister Crowley in his book called Magic from 1997. And there is Morpheus as well. And so she chose this, Candice Cameron Bure, who, claims to be a Christian, for her book here. It's intentional, right? This isn't an accident. And it says, kind is the new classy, the power of living graciously. It's a New York Times bestseller. And here she's plugging this book and this book, right? So these celebrities, and she is, supposedly a Christian. That's what she says. I mean, she's a Hollywood Christian, whatever that is. And she's had an eating disorder and suffered psychological, emotional issues from being a Hollywood celebrity, child celebrity. And, it's all about Bob, except there's always some self-promotion in Hollywood, right? But she's got this very touching story.
We got into a little tiff, and his flight was delayed. We ended up not having dinner, but in Bob fashion, the next day he wrote me like,
look at Hoda. Hoda's such a good listener. Look, watch Hoda as she's talking here.
What would be pages long of a text. He was apologizing.
We need more Hoda.
Saying he was cranky and he was just so sorry. He said, "Oh, now I feel even worse. I was so wrong. You're like my favorite person on the earth."
Exactly. Head of his wife, his kids. She's the number one head of John Stamos. She's like the favorite person, She's the favorite person ahead of all those other people.
And I acted like Dolly. I was getting ready to take a late flight, and I was annoyed.
Who's Dolly?
Dolly was his mom.
And his also alternate ego.
And he said, "You're one of the
Look at Oda go.
few that understands that if I act like Dolly, I'm not the best at my game that day." Ha.
Because Dolly was a real bitch, right?
Ha.
Ha ha ha.
And Bob went on and on and on in the text, and he said at the end, "I love you more for the trouble you're giving me, if that's even possible." And
it's not possible, right? Nobody loves somebody more for being difficult.
I wrote back, "I love you. I could never be mad at you. Roll my eyes at you? Yes, but never mad."
Whoa, this is a touching story. Let's read some more texts.
"And I love that you being Dolly, that made me laugh out loud. I loved your mom." And he just wrote back, "I loved you. My mom loved you too."
What did you lose when he passed?
Oh, this is going to be a tearjerker.
Bob was available and there for...
See if there's some way you could, like, while you're crying, like, point your elbow at your book. Find some way to bring attention to your books here.
For everyone that he knew. But Bob was that person that no matter what happened, Bob would drop anything for you in a second, in a heartbeat. And you didn't even have to be his best friend for him to do that.
Exactly. It's except like when he wanted to listen to you or care about what you're talking about and all the things that John Stamos said. All right, let's go to the Masked Singer. Speaking of fake, so before we get to the Masked Dummy, I'm in the editing process here. And there's a theme, because I didn't know it at the time, that's running through this video today, which is fakeness. Everything I'm covering is about fakeness. Now, this is the year of the dummy, but with the dummy is the deception, right? And fake. You know, fake, 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 fake. And
fake, 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 fake.
And to buy into the deception and the fakeness, you got to be a dummy. You have to like have remedial consciousness. I mean, you have to be almost completely asleep, right, to buy into all the fake stuff that's happening. And so I'm talking about Bob Saget, the way that they've, you know, Hollywooded this up, and each of these celebrities trying to get their plugs in and, you know, become relevant and be a part of it, right? And we're going through this with Jeff Zucker and CNN and the Masked Singer and the other things I'm covering here, but it's all about fake, right? All this stuff is fake, and it's annoying. Like at this point, I feel like, you know, you don't have to be a completely awoken person, either spiritually or in terms of the truth community, but you got to be able to see how fake this stuff is, right? Like people are still buying into this stuff. Like it's brutal. Masked Singer judges walk off in protest after Rudy Giuliani appears. The newest season of Fox Masked Singer hasn't even aired yet the reality hit has already caused a stir, with a shocking unmasking during the taping of the first season. Rudy Giuliani was revealed as one of the first contestants. Hey, you shouldn't be revealing this. Like, you're wrecking. Spoiler alert, Rudy Giuliani is on the next season of Masked Singer, departed in upcoming season 7 premiere, promoting two of the show's judges, Ken Jeong and Robin Thicke, to storm off stage and protest. Deadline reported this. Look at it. Unmasking of Rudy Giuliani. They screwed him with the... Remember when his face melted? This is what Rudy dressed up as. Is that Rudy? that sounds about right. This is spoiler alert, and they got it right here. It's breaking news. A couple of the principal judges, they're judges after all, they're official judges on The Masked Singer, were upset that Rudy Giuliani was on the show, and so they stormed off in protest. So I pulled up, you know, I searched for a Masked Singer reveal. This is the one they, you know, that was top of the list, right? This is like the fakest show. And, well, here's the, take it off, take it off. Take it off. It's the Rottweiler. Look at Ken Jeong. Look at him. Look at him go. Who could it be? I don't understand who this might possibly be. Who is this possible guy here? He's so excited. He can't. Look at this principled man with his giant man hands. Look at him go. Take it off. Take it off. Oh, it's Chris Daughtry. He was the Rottweiler all along. Well, I can't believe it. Oh, I never will look. It's amazing. I can't believe that's him. Oh. Well, look at Robin Thicke. Look at this principled man. He's going to walk off the set. We never would have guessed it. I can't believe it. Look at Ken Jeong. Look at him. So, when you join the Masked Singer, you're throwing integrity and class and self-respect out the window. You are just an absolute hoe, right? Publicity hoe, right? That you're doing anything possible to stay famous in some way, and you're doing it for a paycheck, right? You're at the tail end of your career arc. You know, if you're a B-level celebrity, you're moving to C-level or D-level. Whatever level of celebrity you're on, I don't think there's any B-level celebrities here, so the C-level or D-level, and you're desperate just to stay relevant. If you've ever seen that Ricky Gervais show called Extras, I think it is, where he plays an extra in the beginning, and then he becomes famous, and then he's not famous, and then he does reality TV shows just to stay relevant, and he's like completely sells himself out, and he's embarrassed, right? It's actually kind of funny. But it's documented in any Hollywood celebrity life, you know, the arc of fame. and I talk about this with Madam Expiration Date and Will Smith, iconic celebrities who are at the top of the, food chain. They were icons, right? And then they drift away. Everyone has their moment in the sun, and then they're not relevant anymore. And they do anything to stay relevant. And, these guys who are on The Masked Singer are selling themselves out to a show that's just so fake and annoying. Like, I can't imagine how anybody can watch this show and care. Like, it's so fake and it's so weird, and they're so, it's so pretentious. And, pretentious isn't even the right word. It's like, ridiculously stupid. It was for dummies. And for these guys to claim to have some integrity and pretend to be outraged, like, you've sold this thing out just by being on The Masked Singer. Yeah, Rudy Giuliani's a joke, but but these guys being upset by it. Oh my God!
Man, what in the world made you do this show?
Everyone forgot about me, and I don't have a record deal, and I needed the cash.
And I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to challenge myself. So
yeah, this is a challenge. She's wearing her mask.
Last year, when T-Pain won, I was like, oh, I just want to do this.
He just wants to do it because T-Pain's another person who's completely irrelevant.
Like, so much fun.
Oh, man. Like, I got so much integrity. I just look at me. I'm not a sellout. I have so much integrity. Don't bring Rudy Giuliani up in here.
No idea how challenging it was going to be.
Oh, my God. He might pass out from it's just too much. Look at her. It's just too much.
I'm so happy I did it.
Oh, my God. I can't believe it.
No idea.
Can't believe it. All right. Like The Masked Singer is rock bottom. When you're doing The Masked Singer, you've reached rock bottom. Like, there's levels in life where you're a crackhead. I told that story where I worked in a treatment center where I picked up, one of my jobs was to go to the airport and pick up rich people. Some of them were semi-famous or came from important families, and drive them back to the treatment center, which was about, an hour and a half away, right? And this is in New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And there was a judge, and you had to read the intake file and kind of know what the person was about before you picked them up. And this was a woman who was a prestigious judge in a big city, and, her husband was some, whatever it was. Like, she was a rich and famous person in the city, right? Someone of influence. And she started smoking crack. And within, I think it was a month, she was sold all her stuff. She was broke, and she was prostituting herself for crack, right? Throwing away her career and her family and all these things. And she never showed. Like, I just waited there, and she never got on the plane, or she didn't get off the plane, whatever it was. She never went into treatment. And so, she had this life trajectory, smoked crack, and then was, and at some point you realize you've hit rock bottom in whatever you're doing. Like, what you're willing to do for something. In this case, fame and money and relevance. And The Masked Singer is, a barometer of how low you will go, right? And it's just so, it's just so fake. And so once you go that low, you don't have the right to walk out on Rudy Giuliani because, you're in the same boat he is, right? Like, you've hit rock bottom the same way Rudy Giuliani is when he got up and his face melted.
Fake, 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 fake.
Whoopi Goldberg is livid, threatening to quit The View over her suspension, source says. Well, where does Whoopi go if she's not on The View? Like, she's been on The View for like 20 years, right? Like, there's no step down from The View. Right? Like, maybe The Masked Singer. Maybe she could be a host on The Masked Singer. Like, there's not many places where you can go after The View, in terms of going downward on your Hollywood trajectory.
Fake, 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 fake.
Jeff Zucker and Allison Goulis lied for years about their open secret affair. They lied about their bromance for a number of years. Here she is towering over Tom Brokaw and Jeff Zucker. Jeff Zucker looks like, a clone that wasn't completely cooked, right? Like a clone that wasn't fully developed. And they pulled it out of the clone juice, the clone womb, before it was fully cooked, right? And there he is, right? And strife of Brian, CNN facing calls to fire Stelzer for not exposing Zucker Gulust affair, report says. And so Brian Stelzer is in the hot seat here. CNN is now facing calls to fire its chief media correspondent, Brian Stelzer, for not exposing the ongoing romantic relationship between Jeff Zucker and senior executive Allison Gulust. Stelzer, he's only 36. He's only 36. Like that should tell you everything he needs to know. He's got a show called Reliable Sources where he gets to the bottom of, fake conspiracies and things. CNN is taking it on the chin, right? This is brutal. It's brutally bad for CNN because they've had all kinds of scandals coming out just from Cuomo's, and all of them knew that there was this affair going on, and they're supposed to report on stuff like that. And, he ends up getting fired, and it's embarrassing. And this is here, Katie Couric speaks out after Jeff Zucker resigns, claims many ignored inappropriate behavior. So the guy was inappropriate. This was from yesterday. This is one of the good things about New York Post. Lying Zuck. This is, they took the picture of them together at the baseball game or whatever it was, football game, probably baseball.
Fake, 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 fake.
So to continue with this theme, I don't care about him having an affair, and I don't even care about him breaking the rule. Like, it means nothing to me. And I wouldn't care about this if I was someplace I worked at. Obviously, if there's romantic relationships going on where, one person has more power than the other person, there's always, things that are going to go along with it, right? Other people will get screwed. Someone will be promoted because they're sleeping with the boss, whatever, right? And so I understand the rules, but I don't care about that. I certainly don't care about it at CNN. And people are going to do that. It's natural human behavior. There's going to be work time relationships at work, right? And so it doesn't outrage me at all, right? I'm not offended. It doesn't affect me. What I like about it, though, what's important is that CNN is so fake. And where they fail here is they try to pretend they have integrity. They're so arrogant about it, right? That they're so much better than Fox News. And, Fox News had all these women who had to dress up in, sexy clothing and things like this. I mean, there was I just covered this with, that woman who won the lawsuit. Can't remember her name. Don't care. Don't tell me. Don't need to know. But there was that movie Bombshell about it. And, Fox News was this depraved place. But we now know at CNN, there was a couple of guys who got fired. One of them, Chris Cuomo's producer, who was engaged in some sort of human trafficking stuff, right? Chris Cuomo's, of course, with his brother. And now the president, the place just absolutely sucks. We know it because, we watch it on a different level. But it's like the Masked Singer of, news networks. Like, it's just so bad over there. And I think it's maybe the worst one. I don't know. Fox still sucks and MSNBC. But these guys pretend that they're journalists and they're just so fake. They're not. Like Brian Stelzer comes in and his whole reliable sources is about conspiracy theorists and fake news and things like this. And, this just exposes what we already know. I mean, it makes me happy because of it. But, it's all fake over there. Like, it's not real. They're not real journalists. They don't have real integrity, And so this is, it's good. Like, it's a good thing. Dolphin owners fired back at Brian Flores charges on false and malicious that are false, malicious, and defamatory. So this guy, Brian Flores, is an African-American coach who busted out a couple of bombshells that undermined Tom Brady's retirement announcement, which was great, right? Because this became the biggest story in sports. and Tom Brady was pushed to second, which, you know, Tom Brady isn't going to like. And he said that he was offered a bonus of $100,000 per game by Ross to tank games during his tenure as coach for the Dolphins, because tanking is important to get the higher draft picks. The team with the worst record gets the first pick in the draft. And so when a team's not doing well, the coaches and owners, maybe not the coaches, but the owners want the team to lose. And he was offered $100,000 per game if he lost games for the Dolphins. And another thing he said was Bill Belichick congratulated him on getting the Giants job, and he hadn't even interviewed for it yet. It was another guy named Brian, right? And so, which means before he even interviewed, a coach from an opposing team already knew the Giants had hired another guy. So he was interviewing for a job that was already filled. See, the NFL doesn't hire African Americans as head coaches. It's been a big problem, right? When, you know, it's something like 70% of the players are African American, and the coaches, it's like, you know, 15% or 20%. And they have all these things, you know, stop racism and end hate, that the players are wearing on the back of their helmets because of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. But it's just all fake, right? Because they don't really believe in that. And so this guy's saying that he did all these sham interviews where he would go in and interview because they had to interview at least one African-American candidate before hiring the white guy that they always would hire, right? And I don't know how much proof he has, but I always like these kind of things, right? Because it's truth, right? It's, you know, the NFL pretends to be something, but they're not. They never wanted to go along with the Colin Kaepernick thing, but the whole woke movement took over. They went along with it, but it's all fake, right? And, you know, and their policies are fake.
Fake, 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 fake.
And the NFL makes $20 billion, a $20 billion business a year, maybe more now. But there is $80 to $90 billion of betting. So the betting is, you know, there's more money in the betting than there is in football itself. And this idea of him having proof, and other coaches have come out saying they were offered money to tank as well in different organizations. This is where they could get rid of owners, right? You know, where owners would be either somehow punished or they would have to sell the team, because it's a big deal to pay your coaches to lose, right? Offer bonuses to lose. U.S. Special Forces kill ISIS leader in Syria raid, Biden says.
Fake, 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 fake.
Yeah, we're going to need some proof of this, because it seems like you're tanking in terms of your popularity. The COVID thing is going backwards. And, you know, they're trying to wag the dog with Russia, and now they come up with one of these announcements. I think it's a little bit suspicious, right? Like, I just I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe you're telling the truth, Jojo Magoo. So I make these videos where I take different articles and videos and things that are up on the interwebs. You know, some things are left over from maybe even 2 days ago. They're tabs that are open. I didn't get time to cover them. I mean, there's time considerations, and, you know, sometimes I have in my mind of a theme that's running through all the videos, a string running through these pearls, these pearls of a story. But for the most part, you know, I usually don't. And so when I was doing the editing, I realized that every one of these stories, like, my reaction to it was about the fakeness. And there's other things to react to in these different stories. But for me, it was like how fake it is and how they're not even trying anymore. On every level, they're not trying to make things not fake. It's just so obviously fake, which ties into the year of the dummy, because they think people are so dumb. And, you know, it's been proven now because of the way that most people have dealt with COVID and just the reactions and their emotions and, you know, what they're willing to do in terms of pressuring other people's belief systems and all these things, that, you know, and people are just getting dumber. The COVID itself and maybe some of these other things are making people dumber, just literally, you know, dropping IQ points and brain function. And so the fakeness goes with it. Like, it's just getting more and more fake, like in an annoying way, where, you know, that's my most strongest, like, emotional reaction is to the fakeness, right? And that's the case here. And, you know, this is inevitable because when a society is crumbling the way it is and it becomes more and more obvious that it's crumbling, people have to withdraw more and more from reality because they don't want to see what's actually happening in front of them. And, you know, the powers that be have to push out all kinds of crazy content, fake stuff to, you know, distract people and take them away from the obviously, you know, the apocalypse that's the apocalypse that's perpetrating right in front of them, right? And, you know, just a disconnect from reality, which when you're a godly person, you like things more simple and natural. And when you're, you know, an ungodly person or a demonic person, you like things complex and you like it filled with drama and just, you know, all the things that go along with modern day living. And you want things to be fake. You want people to lie to you. You want the deception because you don't want to face the truth. And so this is the battle right now. People connecting to God and seeing what's real. Because ultimately, you know, when you connect to God, the heartfulness system, there's a book called Reality at Dawn, you know, God realization. Like, that's when you realize the ultimate truth when you merge back into the source. You return home to your original creator. And that's when you know, interact with reality in its purest form. But this is more and more a perversion of reality here on planet Earth. And so things are just getting faker and faker. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.